What's up, Solutionaries? Welcome to the Maj Toure Show. It's Tuesday. We got a few more days to knock out for the rest of the week. I want to shouts to everybody that's tapping in. If you're coming in, you know what it is. Hit the like button. Share the information. Share the actual show. Put it all over the place. If you're on X, formerly known as Twitter, go over to that button called the repost button. Hit it. Share it. When you're coming in, hit the like button. If you're watching on youtube.com/Maj Toure, if you're watching on rumble.com, hit all of those buttons, subscribe. Most of the people that consume content aren't subscribing to the channels that they watch. So help us out a bit with that. We got a really packed show for y'all tonight. It's very, very important. Huge shouts to everybody getting ready, signing up for the Newark class. St. Louis and Cleveland was last weekend. Had a great time over there. We're going to have an even greater time in Newark, New Jersey. Sign up for the free basic firearms classes. Peace, Protocol, how are you? Easy Tactical, what's up from Houston? When y'all come into the live, say exactly where you from. Let's boost the algorithms. Y'all know if you was talking any type of conservative, question the government, take care of your family, be a straight man type of shit, you know that your pages are throttled. So we try to get everybody to help out and boost the signal for everybody else. Today's Solutionaries, we're going to have a discussion about Donald Trump and the GOP. And I have my suspicions about a few things with the current GOP. But the title, in essence, is kind of like, is Trump kind of being, is he the lifeline? Is he the lifeline that's going on? The final lifeline for the GOP. And I know we're going to have a very, very lively discussion. We're going to bring folks in that can give different perspective about this. I'm going to bring a few of those folks up real quick. But again, guys, today, y'all know how we go. We try to get 10 folks at the $20 level. Go to the super chat, support the work. The link is right under me, givesingo.com/solutionary. Make sure y'all tap in. We have a few folks that's going to tap in tonight that are going to communicate about this issue. Most of these folks y'all may know, some of you may not, but I want y'all guys to make sure that you are supporting every single person that shows up on the show. I think it's very important in these crucial times that we are getting behind people that are willing to speak truth, that are willing to be honest, even if that honesty is not politically accepted at the moment. So first and foremost, we're going to bring the folks up to the stage. First, we have Shamika Michelle. What's up, Shamika?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Second up, we got our brother from all over the world, freedom extraordinaire gentleman, our brother, Jeff Charles. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, what's good? Thanks for having me on. It's gonna be fun.
Good. I appreciate it, man. Hey, Jeff, turn your mic up just a little bit because I have my volume down, but I want to not get an echo. So just turn yours up a bit. We have some other folks that will be tapping in as well throughout the episode. But I wanted to reach out to folks. Everybody knows I'm a libertarian. I'm a libertarian that has conservative values in some areas. There is overlap. And watching this Donald Trump thing as we're going into the election, I just started to think like, man, I kind of think that the GOP is almost doing the opposite of what Trump is doing as it relates to outreach and all of these different things. So I want to make sure we have a lively discussion about this today. And we got Angela Stanton King might tap in a quick second, and we also will have Wayne Dupree tapping in here shortly as well. But I want to play something for everybody real quick. And this was from a panel in CPAC a few years ago where some of this conversation was brought up. And I'm going to play it real quick for everybody in the chat to give their perspective. And we're going to start off with the questions right after that. So everybody check this out.
Republicans in general, how are we getting that messaging wrong?
Completely, actually. But if you go back to the idea of us now examining that black men have a conservative streak, I told conservatives that 5 years ago, like 5 years ago. And every single one was telling me I had lost my mind. They told me I was crazy. They told me I was seeing something that was imaginary. If 5 years ago, this movement would have looked at black men and said they are capitalists, if they had looked at black men and said that they want to be the heads of their households, they want to be fathers to their children, they want to be coaches to their little league teams, if they had looked at black men as something more than a conservative stereotype and talking point, we would not be here talking about the failure of the last 4 years when it comes to Black America.
Come on now, Sonny.
So we got to go ladies first. And I think that's a great entry point into the conversation tonight. Shamika, you were at that panel. You were there. You famously said, gave the difference in the approach to what type of Black conservative male should be reached. Some people got their panties in a wad about it, but nonetheless, it was an amazing analogy. What do you think about what Sonny's now? Mind you, guys, I want everybody to understand that video, and this is going to blow everybody's mind. At a certain point, shortly here, that video's 4 years old. 4 years old at this point. So, Shamika, give me your perspective about what Sonny said there, and does it relate to right now?
I loved what she said right there. I've been believing that men are the leaders, the only leaders for a long time. And I do think that it applies to right now because we're seeing exactly that without outreach. And so I just can only imagine if there was some type of outreach, what the numbers would be now. But of course, as people have said for a long time, the GOP sucks with outreach. And of course, I'm unaffiliated because I have commitment issues. But I just think if they would have done more, the numbers would be greater now.
I can agree with that. Jeff, what's your take on what Sonny said? And then we're going to slide into these Trump questions.
Man, there's so much there. That's memories right there. I was in the room when you guys had that panel. And it's funny because everything that Sonny said then is still relevant 4 years later, which kind of tells you where I'm going to go with this. The fact that they're still not listening to her tells me what I've always been saying. They don't want Black people in their party. Now, I'm not talking about like the rank and file everyday conservative or everyday Republican. I'm talking about the establishment leadership. They don't want it. They don't want us. And actually, what I'll say, I'll address to Republicans and also to the Liberty Movement too, because that's where I am now. But it's really the same thing. It's a matter of Black people, especially Black men, are looking for alternatives, especially younger generations. The polling shows that Black people are becoming more disenchanted with the Democratic Party, and that spans all age ranges, but especially among younger Black voters. This is a prime opportunity for people or for parties or movements that are not Democrats and not progressives to actually start making inroads in the Black communities, Hispanics too, Asians too. So to me, it's just I'm still seeing more of the same. What you said at the beginning, Maj, was correct. The Republican Party is not following Trump's lead. Trump is actually asking for Black votes. He's speaking directly to Black people. He showed up in Detroit. He showed up in many different areas. And it's the same thing that Mike Huckabee did when he won his term for Arkansas governor. He got almost 50% of the Black vote because he actually tried to get it. And yet, what are we seeing today? The same thing that the Republican Party has been doing. I don't see it changing anytime soon. It may change later, but right now, I still see the same things. It comes around election time. Trump wants to make outreach. You have these stupid influencers who are out there doing everything that they can to alienate Black voters. And at some point, that battle is going to have to end. It'll be interesting to see how it ends.
So, in essence, what I'm hearing from y'all right now is, yes, the GOP obviously has that problem. And we see Trump making those inroads. Now, Trump is an anomaly. I had this conversation a few days ago with Chad O. Jackson. Huge shouts to Chad because he's one of the very few people that publicly admitted that I was right about something and he was wrong. We did an event in Baltimore a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, he was saying, the flood of those folks into it. And, he said, well, Trump's showing the numbers work with the aggressive, this, that, and the third. Since it seems to be working for Trump, why would he stop? And so it made me kind of start to think, like, is that actually going to be good or bad for the GOP in the future? Does that Trump has a different brand? Trump has 40 years of building buildings and this, that, and the third, and The Apprentice for 12 years and this and that and that. So he's a little bit of a different monster, and that was my response to Chad, right? But with Trump being such a, he's got his own orbit, his own charisma, his own whatever. Is that actually for you, from you guys' perspective, is that unifying or a divisive force within the GOP? And how does that impact the future? Because win, lose, or draw, when he out, whether he wins or loses, when he out, he can't do it no more. So do y'all think that he's a unifying force for the GOP, or is he a dividing force for the GOP? And how, whichever way you land on it, how does that impact the party's future? Shamika, let's go with you first.
I think he's a dividing force, but I think it's a good thing. So to me, I believe if you want to continue the party, if you want to see it grow, you're going to get on board with him. I feel like there's no going back to the old way. There's so many people that have come to this side because of Trump. And I just feel like someone like myself, Mike Pence could run next time. I probably wouldn't vote for him, right? He would have to have some amazing policies to even catch my eye, because I think we're just tired of the stiff, stuffy, same old, same old. Like, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So I think it's great that he's been, divisive, because we need to kind of see where people stand. What side of the aisle are you on? And I think that can be a great thing if men say, let me grab my nuts and actually be the man that I'm supposed to be. I think over generations, men have just become really soft. And I think we're seeing such this influx of Black men because Black men do want to lead. As Sonny was saying in that video, they are aggressive, they are leaders. But as we look at what's happened in the Black community, a lot of them have had to tuck their tails and bow down to women. And so I think this is like a lifeline for them to say, you know what? I am the leaders. I am the head, not the tail. I am going to lead my family. I am going to, like she said, coach my little league team. And right now is the perfect opportunity because people are supportive of that idea, opposed to, maybe beating them down some years ago. Everybody's rallying to that whole, the only toxic masculinity is when masculinity doesn't exist. So I think people are really saying we're ready for men to be men.
Yeah. I want to introduce our other brother that's now on the stage, our brother Wayne Dupree. I want y'all to be very, very clear. Wayne has been running conservative circles around a lot of people for a lot of time before a lot of people showed up. So I wanted to have the brother on to give his perspective as well on this. How you feeling, my brother? How are you, Wayne?
Emotional.
Yeah? Emotional?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, we definitely got to get into this. Let's jump back into, I don't know how much you saw, but we played the video of Sonny Johnson giving her breakdown at the CPAC panel that we did a few years back, saying that Black men should be leading. And the overall theme that this is going into is Trump divisive? Is he the last stand for the GOP? Can they replicate these thought processes and things of that nature? So I want to jump to Jeff real quick. Actually, you know what? Wayne, I want to ask you something, man, because, we've spoken offline, and I think some of your perspective may challenge and shake people up a little bit. What are you feeling about Trump this go around? Is he the final frontier for the GOP? What's your perspective, and what are you seeing this go around for this particular election season?
I've been doing this for a while, and sorry about this. I've been doing this for a while, and when I left the Democrat Party in 2008, I remember the conservative platform, and everybody was talking about the conservative platform. Everybody. It was the Tea Party movement. Everywhere you went, this is what America is all about, the conservative platform. You don't hear that too much today. You don't hear nobody really talking about the conservative platform today. Okay. And that hurts. But See, because I interviewed him a few times before he ran in 2016, I really felt I was like, you need to take a bull to the China shop, which was the GOP, because what I had seen all the way up until when he ran was a whole lot of mouth. I would go to the RNC and talk to Rents Previous, and I was like, you know what? Maybe you should start focusing on the family, because that would because that's right along the RNC's line, or that's right along the GOP's line. And the Democrats can't come back on you with that because they've been tearing the family up since the 50s and 60s. So you could lead with that, and put a satellite office in these major cities, and put people of different color in those offices, so that when people come in, man, this is the RNC or this is the GOP. I didn't know they, But to answer your question about Donald Trump, let's just say it like this: after he's gone, I worry.
What's that worry look like for you?
Because
elaborate on that a bit.
Because of the people that have come out behind him. Because before the election, before this start ramping up and everything, all we saw was black violence videos on social media. And they were sharing them like, I'm surprised that people weren't eating popcorn and drinking soda pop like a movie, watching this stuff. They were sharing, and Charlie Kirk was coming out with his stuff against Martin Luther King, and other people were talking about certain things. And I'm like, do y'all, going back to what you said earlier, well, in my way, I don't really know if they want the black vote. I really don't. To beat the Democrats, yes. But do they want them? I don't think so.
You know what? I want to tap into Jeff real quick, because Jeff, you alluded to that a little bit earlier, but I want you to expound on that, because y'all are similarly saying these same things. Now, Shamika's perspective is she's agreeing with what Sonny says, but y'all are taking a slight turn here in the sense of it's not looking like, maybe not Trump, but it's not looking like the GOP actually wants the black vote. And that's an excellent, statement that you made, Wayne, about maybe they just want to beat Democrats and say, nah, but do they actually want the black vote? Jeff, can you expound on your perspective there a little bit? You on mute, Jeff.
So anyway, that's pretty much it. They don't want us. The Republican Party has not wanted black people for a very long time. And again, I'll give the disclaimer. I'm not talking about the rank and file voters, because if you were in a room full of conservatives right now and asked, do you want more black people in the party? 99.9 are going to say yes, we do. But your leadership doesn't. Your politicians don't. Your party apparatus does not. Your conservative Inc. media does not. And they show it on many different occasions, and they love to show it. I mean, Wayne already talked about it. I mean, you have people speaking out against Martin Luther King Day or whatever. And I get the man had flaws. We're not supposed to worship people. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right. I'm with you on that.
But the problem is that they're doing it to appeal to a certain crowd. When they say those things, when they do video after video of what I call black man bad porn, and they're trying to make black people look violent, that's a specific crowd, and it ain't us. Nope. The leadership and the media figures are not representing the base. Trump does. Because if you notice, Trump doesn't do any of that stuff. The only type of black person that the GOP might want is what Shamika talked about on that panel too. You've got the Will Smiths and you've got the Carltons. I'm the Carlton. Shamika, Sonny Johnson are the Will Smiths. And that's what people got butthurt over. That's what Maj was alluding to earlier. People on the right got really mad about that comparison. But the thing is that they want a certain type that's just going to echo their talking points that are designed for a specific audience, that is designed to promote a deceptive narrative for those purposes, because really it gives the Republicans an excuse. Oh, it's not that we're not trying to reach black voters. They're just too brainwashed. They're just too violent. They just want handouts. Yeah, we've heard these talking points for ages, and there's a reason why they use them, because they know that their base wants more black and Hispanic people over, so they have to make it look like they're trying. That's what Brexit was all about. It was a farce. It was designed to make it look they were trying to reach black voters, and they weren't. So that's where we're at. And again, I don't see that changing, because anytime somebody comes up that wants to make progress in that regard, you've got these other people that push back on it, whether they push back overtly or covertly. They whether they're using code or whether they're just saying it outright. It's a shame. And I mean, that's actually one of the main things that drove me out of the conservative movement and more into the liberty movement, which has similar problems, by the way. But I think it's easy. I think the liberty movement, it's easier to push people more in the right direction. So, I mean, I want to be optimistic. I do. But they make it very hard.
Shamika, what's your thoughts? I need to hear. I always want to hear from the sisters. I need to know: are the brothers correct here? Are our brothers correct? Because I'm pushing back against both of our brothers here, just because I'm right and y'all are wrong. But Shamika, what's your thoughts? Does the brass, not the rank and file, do the brass in the GOP, the grand old party, do they genuinely, in your opinion, want the black vote, strong black male vote?
Ooh.
I would say no, but the type of person I am is I don't care. Like for me, everybody wants me because you should. I am an asset to anyone. So when it comes to the men, if these men are taking leadership roles, if they're doing what they're supposed to do in their communities, if they're contributing to the betterment of the country, everybody wants them. And if you don't, move out the way. We're not asking for permission anymore. We're not looking for somebody to extend a welcome. This is our country. That's kind of how I move about my day. It's like I don't need somebody saying, oh, come on in. You can have a seat. I know I can have a seat. This is my house. This is my couch. This is my coffee table that I'm about to prop my feet on. When I look at my ancestors, my great-great-grandfather is Native American. So this is my land. I'm not asking for permission. So whether they want us or not, I'm saying, hey, come on in, everybody, and let's take over.
Right.
You know,
I agree with that. And that's
let me
pretty
respond
much
to
in
that.
essence. Go ahead real quick, Wayne.
Let me respond to that, because that's great when you're outside the house. You got to get in the house, and the people that control that house are the people that don't want those types of thoughts or that process inside the house. Because what happens is when you have those strong black minority voices, just like Shamika just said, when you have them inside the house, I've seen the conservative movement listen to that voice more than they listen to the standard leadership that's in charge of everything. So what happens is it's like, wait a minute, hold on. They come in here and they taking over when they're really not taking over. We have better ideas. We know how to talk to certain people and stuff. Jeff was just talking about the talking points and stuff. A few years ago, I had to change the way that I talk to our brothers and sisters. I had to remember. I was like, my God, you know what? I've been talking like that for so long. I forgot. This is where I came from, though.
So in
the
essence,
barbershop aren't listening to me if I come in talking thee, thou, and thous. You know.
So in essence, Wayne, you're basically saying the approach. I'm in alignment with Shamika saying, like, I'm gonna do whatever I want wherever I go. I'm gonna just do whatever I want. I just don't care. You could get down with it, or you could get down, or you could lay down. It's gonna be one or the other. But from your perspective, you're saying that's when you're outside creating your own bubbles based on conservatism, not necessarily trying to move and shape in the actual GOP.
Yeah, because of who you have a platform. What everybody here has a platform. If you found a way to connect with somebody inside to work with them on a regular, so that they see what you are doing there, then maybe you might be invited on the inside for a period of time so that they can say, okay, I see what
No,
they're
but listen,
doing.
Wayne. Nah, I don't agree with that, bro. I go in I go everywhere, and I just be I'm showing up right now. When I get the invite because of the work that I'm doing, I think y'all are both saying the same intent, and I get where y'all are both coming from. So, for example, you show up, you be who you are, you see the impact. That panel that we had was clearly the best panel that CPAC has ever had. None of us were ever invited back. So both points are accurate, right? Now,
Right.
to me, I'm still gonna keep doing the work. I'm still gonna keep doing it. Y'all played yourself. If
Yeah.
you too insecure to have strong people around, you kind of like bitch made from the gate.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what Shamika's saying. Shamika, can you expound a little bit on that perspective? Because I think both of y'all have those points depending on which angle you're trying to, go from.
Yeah, I'm saying, okay, get in the house. Like most of the men I know, I mean, let me not sound like a criminal, but I know a lot of men that's going, kick the door in and take over. And you don't have a choice but to make space for them. And or get out. They will put you out of your own house. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I'm not willing to ask for permission. I've been even not being given that GOP platform, like you said, after 2021, we weren't invited back. It didn't stop my voice. Like, I continued to push it on people, can tell them how conservative values really will help their lives, traditional values. So I've continued to do the work, even though they didn't really say, come on in the house, mingle with us, let's have a drink. I don't care. And so for me, I don't want us to feel like we're constantly having to fight against them when I believe that we are stronger.
But in the situation, and I'm sure many of y'all have seen where I've been since 2019. When you start calling out both sides, they shut you down. Even if you were in the house, now you're outside the house. I haven't stopped what I'm doing, but guess what? I don't get a push.
I think both perspectives are great, and I tie that back into the overall topic for tonight. First of all, everybody that's coming and everybody that's watching, I want you to all hit the like button. Let's get the likes up. Get the likes up. Share the perspective. If you're watching this on X, make sure that you are reposting this. Share the show. Share the show. It's a simple repost, guys. Don't be a hoe. Share the show. It makes sense, okay? That's one. I think that the reason why there is such attraction to Trump is because he is taking the approach that Shamika and I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that perspective, that approach of, I'm here, what you gonna do about it? And what's up? And I'm about these things. And mind you, Trump is a reformed Democrat, right? So those are the things that I think are kind of be said. And I think that is a part of the reason that there is such an attraction to, and he has generated such a following. But again, it brings us back to the question. He's dividing. Shamika said he's divisive because it's separating some of the weak dudes from, rhinos and things of that nature. It's separating the people that are having those, lily white conservative movement talking points. But now, again, guys, Trump's going to leave. Whether he wins or not, there still has to be a GOP in that regard. So can the GOP keep up that energy and momentum that he brought to the conservative movement once he's gone? I want to start with Shamika and then go back around to the panel.
I don't think they can keep that momentum up with their old mindset. I do feel like they're going to have to open their arms and say, we want the Wills and the Carltons, because I just feel like the GOP will die without doing that.
Yeah.
I just think it's a new day, and they need to get on board or they'll be obsolete.
Jeff, perspective?
Obviously, we live under a two-party system. which is really one party. It's a uniparty. So the Republican Party isn't going to go anywhere. But after Trump, whether he doesn't win this election or whether he does and is out in 4 years, I think that the establishment is going to be fighting tooth and nail to go back to the pre-Trump days. Or what might happen, because the reason why Trump is so divisive and unifying to a certain degree is because he's way more populist than prior candidates have been. So that might actually continue. I don't think the populism is going away anytime soon. My fear is that it's going to be more big government. It's just going to, Trump has some big government tendencies that I do not like. And to me, seeing the party going that way, and realistically, the Republican Party isn't really limited government. I saw a comment that I thought was brilliant in the chat here. It says they just want more moderates, not true conservatives. That's absolutely spot on. If you are a conservative, and when I say conservative, I mean a real conservative. Like if I say eliminate 90% of federal agencies, you smile. If that's you, you are a minority in your party. You are not being represented. And even among Republican voters, most Republican voters, if you look at the polling, they're moderates. They're moderates on a lot of these issues that you are conservative about. So to me, you can't really count the GOP, regardless of which way it goes, whether it goes more Trumpy or whether it goes back more establishment, or what is most likely, it'll be a mixture of the two. Your party is still not going to represent you. So I know I'm trying not to sound like negative Nancy all over the place. There is hope, though. This is why I talk about focusing on your local communities. You can affect change there. You can limit the government there. You can get people in office who will push back when your state and federal governments want to pass tyrannical, unconstitutional laws. At the federal level, that's pretty much done. They are irredeemably corrupt no matter who's running it. I think that if you are a true conservative, you need to be looking to what you can do in your communities, whether it's with your local party or the Libertarian Party or whatever you want. Be conservative, exercise those principles, serve your community, and figure out ways to shore things up at the local level so that you can mitigate the impact of what the federal and state governments are doing.
Yeah, Wayne, perspective, and then I want to add to the mix as well. But go ahead, Wayne, jump in real quick.
When I see MAGA, and believe me, what Jeff was talking about with the uniparty, Republicans, Democrats, I don't put MAGA in with the Republicans. I don't do that. I stopped doing that for a long time ago. So what you have two factions. Well, you have three, but you have a lot. But within this, you have MAGA, and then you have the Republicans. The way that I see MAGA always call Republicans rhinos. I'm like, y'all need to stop doing that. They are Republicans. You are MAGA. Now, your movement is to take down the Republicans. If you're jealous that they had Republican name, and say it. But basically what you're doing, you're saying that these Republicans are rhinos when they're really Republicans. You're trying to expose the Republicans. Okay, so stop copping out and saying that they're rhinos. They are Republicans, and your job is that you're trying to get rid of this mess and clean it up. And to end on this note, I agree. They are waiting for Trump to leave. They are laying back. They are laying back in wait because they feel. Honestly, they really want to take it over right now. If they can get more people to join the Democrats, they're going to take it over right now. If they can, to stop the rise of MAGA in this. But again, they are waiting they're waiting for him to roll out because they don't see anybody popular like him to continue. That's what I see.
So I'll say this. I think the GOP is absolutely done. I think the GOP has had every opportunity, as we saw in the video. That video 4 years ago, where Sonny was having a discussion about what she was saying 5 years prior to that. So that's damn near a decade. So that's damn near a decade of someone with a platform You know, Sonny was right up under Andrew Breitbart, so he can't pretty much get no closer than that, right? And obviously, Breitbart conversation, and we're not struggling with the fact that Andrew Breitbart was conservative, right? I tend to agree, and I think that they can't match the pizzazz. They cannot match the 40 years of pre-existing branding. They can't match or produce candidates that have a certain level of comedic timing. All of these things that seem to be the manifestation in Donald Trump as it relates to that. Now, do I think that they even want that? On one hand, I don't care because they've already shown their hand or their incapability to highlight the great historic tradition of black folks as it relates to the Republican Party and the GOP and conservatism. Like I've said on the CPAC stage years ago, there is the best conservative of all time that nobody ever wants to talk about in the GOP, Frederick Douglass. I mean, even leftist schools, when they're teaching Black History Month, they make mention of Frederick Douglass. So whether they're too incapable mentally or they just don't want to is irrelevant to me. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do regardless. Now, when we're talking about as it ties into Trump, they were gifted something that was very, very amazing. And they do not have the ability to learn from their mistakes, or they do not want to. And I think that there will be a mass migration to the libertarian or ANCAP movement after this Trump situation is over. Trump going to help people get a lot of money. I'm telling you, I make a lot of money off the Trump t-shirts. Like, I'm going to keep it a buck with you, right? I think there'll be money made. I think careers have been made. And I think there's an inability to pivot, to learn from and pivot off of that. And I see all of those people. That's why, again, when I came in and saw it, I was like, oh, y'all not really about that action. Y'all not actually about engaging the people and building the movement. And in many ways, they represent like what the NRA kind of is. The NRA, we have 4 million members, even though there's 100 million gun owners. Maybe if we pivot our talking points a bit, we could get maybe 20 million of those people to be paying dues members. They're not interested in that. They're interested in selling to their 4 million members. And that's what the GOP kind of looks like to me in my regard. And I just think they're going to fail. I think that, maybe it needs to fail. George Washington literally told dudes, we should not do party systems. If we do party systems, people are going to be arguing against the party, but not actually to the benefit of the Americans or the actual principle that they're arguing. So maybe that's a good thing. But I just don't see them being, they don't put the muzzle on their spokespeople, which means you're okay with bad PR and you're not good enough. You're not charismatic enough. You don't get money. You're not a billionaire. The people want strong, solid leadership. We want to look at, to people that are into that, right? We want to see a Ric Flair. We want to see The Rock. We want to see people that have that strong bravado, but also are capable and know what they're doing. I don't see any candidate in the GOP. The Libertarian Party's full of them, sometimes to, our own chagrin. But I just don't see that level of strength and consistency. And I'm not very bullish on Trump because he said a few days ago, maybe we give people a year for burning the American flag, and that's a violation of the First Amendment. So there's some pushback there. But anyway, Trump is anticipated to reach the highest levels of black support for Republicans since 1960. What did Trump get right? And we just talked a whole lot about what the GOP has gotten wrong. What has Trump gotten right to reach this level of black vote since damn near, black fist and fucking afros was out? Like, if that's the anticipated and it matches that, what is Trump doing right? Let's go with Shamika first.
Every time you come to me, I'm going to say, hey, Jeff, and thank you to Wayne, because you were one of the first people that gave me a platform, and I remember that. So thank you. I think what Trump got right is just being himself. Like, he's authentic. And I do think when it comes to black people, we can smell a fake and a phony a mile away. So I think that's what he's gotten right. He hasn't tried to change who he is so that, more Black people could like him. He hasn't gone to a Black church and tried to say, I don't feel no ways tired. He has just been Trump, and his whole personality is take me or leave me. And it's not just for Blacks, it's for whites, it's for Asians. Like, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I can do for you. Choose me or not. And so I think that's what he's gotten right. He's just been the same, and he's the same with everyone.
Jeff?
I mean, I think a lot of times we make this more complicated. 70% of it is just showing up as if you want to reach Black voters, because the only people who really show up are Democrats. I mean, that's really what's going on here. I mean, example, Shamika brought up the whole church thing. Trump was at a Black church in Detroit, but he talked like himself. He like Shamika said, he's the same no matter what. He makes his case. I mean, he will go where he needs to go to win over who he needs to win over. He went to the Libertarian National Convention. Like, that's something that people on the right should be emulating, because he's not afraid. Like, he straight up said, I want more Black votes. If he gets 15% of the Black vote, he will have gotten the most out of every Republican president since Gerald Ford, because he just tried. I mean, there's probably people on the right who might even be better messengers than Trump, but they just don't show up. So if you're shouting your message from far away, from a TV screen or from an iPhone screen, you're only going to get a few people. Trump showed up in person. He spoke directly to Black people's concerns. He did that in the last campaign. And realistically, it's not rocket science. So I think that Trump's manner helps him, but I think the fact that he's just willing to go and try to get the votes, that counts for a lot.
Wayne?
I've been doing this for a while. So over the last couple of years, I've been looking outside of Twitter, X. I've been looking outside of that. I don't get, and this is not a knock on anybody, but my blinders are open to other platforms. I see a lot of Black support for Kamala Harris outside of Twitter, X. I do. And when I look at the responses that are on there, it's almost like night and day between both these platforms. Even though you can go out and check, even though people go out and get the videos and bring them on to Twitter and say, yeah, look, see what this Black person just said. See what this Black person just said. I'm like, man, y'all don't have to do that. But when I'm reading the responses on these 4 million subscriber accounts or something, when you're reading it, you'd be like, these people ain't happy. And it's really not with Trump. It's with some of it's with the followers of Trump, because of stuff that they say and how they treat Black or minorities or whatnot. And that, we were talking offline, the stuff that happened on Sunday. I mean, Trump wasn't on stage. Trump didn't say that stuff, but that stuff got attached to him.
Yeah.
And
do you think that he is better at navigating what to say and what not to say, going back into Shamika's point of, I'm just being myself and I'm not trying to appease any base other than saying, I want your vote? Is that what he's getting right?
I 100%, I believe he wants to vote. I believe that he wants to be that catalyst of all time for minority votes, so that he can hang his hat on, and pardon the pun, so that he can hang his hat on that. Look what I did. It's just the people that are behind him that are sabotaged, just like they did in 2020. Yeah, the people that are on that team, they're riding his coattails with stirrups, boy. I mean, they're on him to take him down. Yeah, Well, the
So
Democrats.
here's my thought on it. I agree with that, right? And Big Rob, I'm never calling you the whole thing, bro. Like, I'm just gonna call you Rob, Big Rob. All right, that's just gonna happen, right? Rob says, but George Lopez could call Mexican Steves and it doesn't attach to Kamala. How is that happening? Is that more of the left being better at PR than the right?
We're always looked at, or our side is always looked at as being better for some reason. You know that. I mean, when I left the Dem Party, I looked at I was like, man, look at the conservative, and man, it's nice over here. You know, I'm like, this is great. Yeah, I mean, I don't see the crust and the cred of the Democratic Party. We're up here compared to what I just left. But then I've seen over a couple of years with social media stuff, it's starting to equal out a little bit, you know.
Yeah. So what do y'all think? What policies or messages from Trump have resonated the most? Like Black conservative voters, maybe not you know so much conservative, but what has landed and what's missed the mark? Because I don't want this to look like we only talking about Trump's greatness, right, or the things that he got right. What are some of the things that landed well, and what are some of the things that he could have done better in that regard? Because I think for me, what comes out of this conversation tonight is us all kind of like packaging an action item list to say, hey, if we want the GOP to go back in the direction of limited government, because that's really what it's about, the GOP of the Frederick Douglasses of the world that have that standing, we need to have some sort of action item list. So what are some of the policies, messages, and just, you know, rhetoric that has won over Black voters or so-called minorities, and some areas that have missed the mark? Let's go with Shamika first.
When I just think of the people that I talk to personally, one of the things he's gotten right, I would say, is the economy. They truly feel like they lived better while Trump was in office. So I feel like he got that right. Now, when I hear them say negative things, they don't like how he handled COVID. I think COVID was just a thing for everybody. Like you were unsure. Some people were really scared, and they were pushing out a lot of messaging against Trump, like as if he didn't take it seriously and he was telling you to drink bleach. And a lot of people lost family members. So it wasn't a situation where you could say this doesn't exist, it's not real. People were dying. And there were a lot of people that I know that lost people. I think I lost 2 family members during that time. And so I think people that were upset in 2020, COVID was a big thing for them. But I do feel like a lot of people now are saying, look, we're looking at the gas, it's high. We're looking at the groceries, it's high. I lived a lot better 2016 through, you know, January, whatever it was, 2021. And so I think that's what he got right.
What, Jeff? Where did he miss the mark, and where did he get it right?
Well, I'll start with what he's done right. I think I'm going to piggyback off of what Shamika said. I mean, it's just like what Reagan asked. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I mean, I've heard from a lot of Black men, I was doing a lot better under Trump. Even though I can't stand him, or I kind of like him, or whatever, I was doing better under Trump. It's the economy, and the economy. And so I think whether he deserves that praise or not, that's the perception, and perception is reality. And he has been better on that than a lot of other people have. I think that, again, showing up, you know, to speak to Black people's problems and issues, that's helped. I think what he's done wrong is what he always does wrong. It's his mouth. He says stupid shit sometimes. I mean, there's a reason why I can't get this song out of my head. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. I mean,
La,
even
la,
if that
la,
was
la.
Hey, see?
La, 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 la.
See, my thing is, I don't buy that whole narrative. I don't think it was happening. Maybe it was 1 or 2 people and they blew it out of proportion. But let's say it's true. Was it smart to say that during a debate when you're talking specifically about Black migrants? No, it wasn't. That was bad. When he's talking about giving police extra immunity, that's going to make any Black person give the side eye. I mean, I'm sorry. That's going to make any Black man, especially, give him the side eye. So I think with Trump, anything that's going to turn Black people off isn't going to always be related to policy. It's going to be more his mouth. He shoots himself in the foot. And I will also say this: I think a lot of black people who are going to vote for Trump are really going to be voting against Black Hillary, because I think that he has turned so many people off. I mean, because of her record, because I mean, especially that ad that just came out where she was boasting about locking people up and ruining their lives and setting them free and wielding her power like that. It's disgusting. So I think he's done a good job, at least on capitalizing on Kamala Harris's weaknesses, to the point to where people are at least willing to give him a shot, even if they're not too sure about it.
Before you go to Wayne, can I just say, not only Black Hillary, but all of the Yas queens that we'll have to live with for 4 years. Nobody really wants to hear that for the next 4 years. So I do think people are running to the polls to shut some Black women up, and part of my vote was that.
100%. Wayne, where's he getting it right? Where's he getting it wrong? Now, again, from your perspective that I agree with too, outside of the minions that are riding the coattails, him specifically, where is he getting it right and where is he getting it wrong?
I think the First Step Act showed that he cared about Black men that were incarcerated. And I think really that had a lot to do. I mean, even though many people were talking about the economy, but let's be fair, Democrats were in Congress at the time too. And they helped push out that stimulus, and Donald Trump signed the check. Because when the Republicans were in there for the first couple of years, and I remember this like it was yesterday, within 10 months that Trump was in office, from January to October, they pushed 2 omnibus bills worth $3 trillion. The last one, the second one, Donald Trump said, I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this again. Paul Ryan ran over from Congress to the White House saying, listen, we'll do the wall. We just need you to go ahead and sign this. I'll say, but the First Step Act is what I think resonated with a lot of Black men to where you're seeing it right now. Now, I do think that he's having problems with women, though, because just like many people are saying that, he's getting the vote and stuff. She's cleaning up with the women vote. Her numbers are more than any other Democratic nominee this century with the women. But that's where I think that he's gotten it right, is with the first step. What I think he's gotten it wrong is, like Jeff, is that sometimes when you boast about certain things, you go a little bit farther than what you need to go. And his rhetoric gets him in. I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh God, why do you say, not that? He got to say, oh, he did it again. So I'm like, oh man, just stick to it. Sometimes I want him to stick to the teleprompter, but when he get off that teleprompter, I gotta like flip the channel a couple times. I'm like, I gotta sneak in there. Did he say something? Okay, all right, whatever.
Look, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I gotta give y'all some pushback. I like off script. I like seeing somebody talk that shit. I'm that way too. Like the reason why Black Guns Matter had success was because I'm not wearing tactical clothes. I carry a gun in the same clothes that I wear everywhere. I wear hoodies, I wear jeans, I wear whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I am a fan of a shit talker. The shit talker has to be, again, you gotta follow through on the shit talk. So I like a Kobe Bryant. I like a Michael Jordan. I like
Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali. So to me,
you different.
I like the, when somebody get up there and talk that, and then they can, back it up with strength and actions. And I think that's actually worked in his favor, partly because the earlier conversation about, Shamika brought up, if you talking that talk, and even if I don't necessarily agree with you, at least I got a certain level of trust for you to say what you actually feeling, right? I love that he says, So I'll wrap on this one in the sense of my answer to it. I love that he says what he says. I hate that he won't acknowledge where he's wrong. You are wrong about the bump stock ban. You are wrong about Operation Warp Speed. You are wrong about take the guns first, due process later. And I'm biased in that area. I'm biased. The Constitution is very, very important to me because it's only a system of like the thing that we got to check government, you know. And so I like that. I like the shit talk. I'm with it if you can back it up. But if you can, even if you can't back it up, if you kind of like talking smack, I like the heart of it. Like if we playing basketball and you talking trash and I'm still like 1,000% dominating, I like the heart of it all, and you'll grow into something else. I don't like at that same basketball game where you know that you fouled me and you won't acknowledge that it's a foul. And that's the part where I think Trump loses ground because there's a lot of people that, bro, we got short attention spans, but we still got phones. And
but
man,
then,
he put $8 million on that tanker, and you know why didn't you lock Hillary up? I hear you on the Joe Rogan podcast saying, I could have and I didn't. Well, maybe you should have. You know, and that's kind of for me. Let's move to the last question. And everybody in the chat, I want you all to make sure that you're following these great panelists. You guys know that the conversation around freedom, liberty, and even being in the space of critiquing somebody, because nobody in this chat is going in this panel or the chat is like, yeah, I'm with her. Like, no, we're not, right? But us being critical and giving people some friendly pushback and constructive criticism should not shake your understanding of where we at, because we care for this nation. If we say this person, based on this two-party system, this person seems like their mind and head is in the right place, we want to sharpen them by being critical of them. And there's no yes men and no yes women in the chat on the panel. So I want to make sure that you are all following and supporting Jeff Charles, Wayne Dupree, and Shamika Michelle. Hopefully you all are sharing the show as well. Super chats, donate to the work, and all of that. But I want to, final question. If the GOP moves on for Trump, and they will have to, win, lose, or draw, I think he's chasing legacy right now, which is they cheated me on one. I beat the first one. If I can double back and re-get the economy popping again, it's unquestionable that he would probably be one of, if not the greatest presidents of all time. That story is an amazing story, right? So I think he's chasing ghosts. I think he's chasing legacy in that regard. But the reality is, after a certain point, Trump will not be running and or be the president of the United States. What should the next leaders in the GOP prioritize to build stronger support outside of the typical Republican voter? Because I think we're all agreeing that at a certain point, if they don't expand outside of the FUDs that they're reaching right now, right, or the boomers, right, the GOP is gonna die. But what should those next leaders of the GOP, and even if you have some ideas of who those leaders may be, what should they prioritize to build stronger support outside of that typical Republican voter? Let's go with Shamika first.
I don't know. I thought of people when you said that, just to encompass my thoughts about it. And I would say Tim Scott, yes. I mean, Tim Scott, no. Byron Donalds, yes.
Okay.
That's kind of how, and like, I like Vivek. I'm really starting to like JD Vance, just these kind of people that are willing to say what it is and not make it so prissy sounding, because I'm not prissy. Like you were saying, you like when people shit talk. So do I. Now, I cringe sometimes simply because I know that there are so many weak people that can't take it. But personally, I absolutely love it. So I just kind of want somebody that shoots straight from the hip, that's straightforward, that's going to tell us what it is, that has a little bit of swag to them. Because I'm just tired of the same old, same old. So that's not really saying exactly what they need to bring, but I am talking about the type of person that I think would be able to take up Donald Trump's mantle and keep going.
Cool. Wayne, what's your thoughts? Who should the next leadership? What should they be? What should they prioritize and focus on to reach that non-traditional Republican voter, or convert folks to the GOP?
I honestly, I think that Congress should be shut down. I don't think anybody up there right now should ascend to any type of leadership in my world. I think that we need to redo things all over again and get regular people with small businesses, with street businesses, with maybe even bring in some church leaders, some real church leaders. I ain't talking about fake ones. Talking about, to go to Congress. Put them in Congress. Don't pay them like $200,000, $300,000 a year because they work less than half. They was it halftime, part time. They work less than part time anyway. So, every quarter you go, you do what you're supposed to do, and go back home. But we need real people that understand the community. Those people up there right now, those are professional debaters, professional stuff. They get up there and one thing that they usually say, and it really pisses me off all the time, is like they'll get in front of the camera. Y'all won't believe all the stuff that we are seeing up here in DC. It will make your head roll. It's like we know what was up there. That's why we elected you to go up there and fix it. We don't need you to give us play by play.
Yeah,
So that's what Maj, Shamika, Jeff. That's what I would look for, is to bring back the everyday man that understands what is really going on in the community, that talks to the young people, that talks to the schools, that talks to the regular people. Send them to Congress and then say, okay, now how can we make America better? Because, and I've said this on the show, and then I'm done. America has been in quicksand since 1950, 1960. Since the late 1960s. We should be a whole lot farther along than where we are. We are in quicksand because DC, all that money in DC has made everybody slow down. Some people are sinking, and some people have their head above the quicksand. They can see how to get out. They just need help. That's what I think.
Jeff?
Maj, it's a very hard question for me to answer because from what I can see right now, there's absolutely nobody in that party who I could support. I mean, I can't a single person who I would think would actually speak to what I want, who would actually want to reach out. A very quick story, like a few days ago, Donnie and I were hanging out here, and there was a knock on our door. Now, the street that we live on is like 99% black. There's maybe like one white guy that's on our street. And so they knocked on our door, and it was this older black lady, and she was trying to get us to sign a petition. And she said, oh, you got to get registered to vote because, we got to make sure Kamala gets in there. How many Republicans do you think have come by our door?
None.
Right.
Goose egg. It's an all black street, but I guarantee you they've probably been other places in the town that we live in because there are other areas that are more white. There are Trump signs all over the place. Although she did mention that the Trump signs are less than they were in 2020. So to me, that's why I need to see somebody who is going to focus on local communities. Because here's the thing: let's say there was somebody in the Republican Party who would do 100% of what I want and get elected president. It wouldn't matter. Because they wouldn't be able to do like even a quarter of what I want, because that institution is hopelessly corrupt. If you get the right person in there, if they survive more than 5 minutes, they're not going to be able to federal agencies. They're not going to be able to strike down all these ridiculous laws that we have. They're not going to get rid of the administrative state. They're not going to be able to end this bureaucracy. And again, I know I'm doom and gloom, but that's just the reality that we're dealing with, guys. That's why I keep saying you got to focus local. Now, could there be a local Republican I'm going to talk with? I haven't found them yet, but they might exist. I don't know. But to me, if you really want to affect change, if you want to be free of the government's, or as free as possible from the government's meddling in your life, you got to get the bright people in office at your mayor, city council, judge, sheriffs. That's what needs to happen. I mean, and I know it's probably not quite the answer to the question that you might have been looking for, but it's just I can't really answer it. I can't, because there's nobody who I would care to support.
I think that y'all are all right and y'all are all wrong at the same time. I think that Thomas Massey, I think that Rand Paul, I think that when we're talking about pushing people in, we got Royce White running for Senate right now. I think those are the people that we're talking about. So I'm saying pushback in the sense of wrong, but right in the sense of the everyday person. And when I say everyday, I don't mean you only make less than $100,000 a year. You only this. I mean the person that has a solid understanding of blocking globalism, defending the American sovereignty, and is willing to do hardcore work. And I think that there are some folks like that, and we might have to make them. You know, I was hoping that Ian Smith, he used to live up here in Jersey, that pushed back against New Jersey with that gym, Attila's gym over in Jersey, and during the whole COVID regime. I would have loved for him to win. I would have loved for, when I ran for city council, to win. But to your point, Jeff, these things are truncated and genuinely corrupt, and these are the things that we have to make sure that we're pushing in the civics classes and getting people to understand, again, on that local level and the state level and those Senate races. You know, when I spoke to Royce a few weeks ago, or maybe a week or so ago, you know, hey, I might not be able to knock the whole thing over, but I could filibuster. You know what I'm saying? If I'm in there, I could filibuster and hold some of these huge omnibus bills up and things of that nature. So I'm agreeing with that. You all are wrong. And Maj is right, because it's the Maj Toure show, and that's just what it is. I want to thank all of the amazing guests. I want to thank all of our amazing guests for tonight. Thank y'all for staying. We stayed over a little bit longer. Listen, guys, if you are watching, make sure that you are right now following Shamika Michelle. Make sure you are following Jeff Charles. Make sure you are following Wayne Dupree. Get behind their endeavors. Make sure that you are supporting with your money, your clicks, your views, attention, and your reshares, because when we're in a space where we're having these open dialogues about being critical of people on our team as well as the so-called other side, when you talk that type of truth, sometimes your platforms kind of gets, throttled a little bit. So make sure you're supporting, sharing, financially supporting all those other different things. Make sure you guys are sharing the show. YouTube.com/Maj Toure, Rumble.com/Maj Toure, X @Maj Toure 999. Solutionary University is the website where you can sign up for classes, and you can donate to the work at that link right there, givesendgo.com/Solutionary. I thank you all again for tapping in. I'll chop up these clips so everybody can get some, because y'all all got a whole bunch of, I'm getting a lot of reels off of all of the stuff that y'all said today. So thank you all for tapping in. I will see you all tomorrow at 6 p.m. for the Maj Toure show. Be safe, be solutionary.